Welcome to the Edupedia World 9th Grade Computer Applications video lecture series. I'm Upeka Vandivona and this is the third part of Office Application Software. From this episode we are going to look at spreadsheets. So to demonstrate spreadsheet features, we are using Microsoft Excel application. So to open it, click the Start button and click the All Programs and look for the Microsoft Office under the letter M. So here we can see Microsoft Office Excel 2007. Click on it to open. This is the Microsoft Excel user interface. It has the same ribbon structure, the quick access toolbar and the office button. But the area in here it is different from other office applications. Generally, Excel documents we called as books. And each book there can be multiple sheets. And in each sheet there are multiple cells labeled as A1, A2, B3, likewise. When you right click on the sheet tab, you can either insert a new sheet or delete the current selected sheet or rename the current selected sheet. And also you can change the tab color with this menu item. Typically a cell is labeled as A1, B1, C1, C2, likewise. But if you need a custom name, you can always use this name box component to label the cell. So here I am going to label this as my cell 1. So imagine you are working down below in this sheet and suddenly you need to do something in that cell. So what you need to do is click on this small arrow in the name box and you can only need to click on this my cell 1 name. You can quickly go to that cell. In a cell you can type text, numbers, dates, currencies, whatever you prefer. Everything are listed down here, but whatever the data type you are using, it has its own formatting. For example, if I type a text over here, it is left aligned and it is cross across cell in D2. So this kind of situations you can always merge the cells. So here I am going to merge the cells in C2, D2 and E2. So to merge you can use this option merge and center in the alignment group under the home tab. This text is my title of the sheet. Therefore, I need to add a title style for this text. To add styles, click the Cell Styles option under the Styles group and select any style as you prefer. So here I am going to use the title style. There you can see the space is not enough for the text. Therefore, I merge this text with the cell in B2. But this time, I am going to use the merge across option as previously we did some merging for the text. Okay, now it's appeared perfectly. Here I have added some text into the sheet 1. So we first start with the cell in B3. I need this text to be bold, therefore I use this bold option under the font group. All the font options are similar as in the other Office applications, like changing the font face and changing the text color likewise. The row which contain the date is so much near to the title. To make them more separate, you can either insert a new row between the second row and third row by right clicking on the bottom row and select insert menu item. Or else you can always change the height of the row like this way. Okay, now the most important thing in here is to enter the today's date in cell in C4. So to insert the today's date, there are multiple ways that you can do it. First way is to manually type the today's date, or else you can use this insert function option. So by clicking insert function option, you can use any of the category selection to find out what kind of functions available in Microsoft Excel. So what kind of functions in the financial category, date and time category, math and trigonometry category, the most important functions in those categories. So today's date is a date and time function, therefore I'm going to look for this category. So here it mentions under this panel what kind of date and time functions available in Microsoft Excel. So I need to find the today's date function. So here is the today function. It returns the current date formatted as a date. So this is a one way that you can insert a function. The other way is formulas tab. So to insert the today's date, you can use this option, date and time category, and select the today's date. I'm going to click OK button. So here it provides the today's date. I need this number 5, the month, in text. So for that, click the Home tab and select this option, More Number Formats. Here you can see it provides number of formattings for the date. So I'm going to use this formatting. So you can see it has hashes. That means the space is not enough for the value. Therefore you need to increase the space. So for that you can change the width of the cell, and here you go. The date is appeared correctly. The cell range in B6 to G12 looks like a table to insert marks for various subjects obtained by 5 students: Sunil, Kamal, Ravi, Peter and Raj. So this name list doesn't appear in alphabetical order. To sort a list either in ascending or descending order, click the Data tab and select this option. To ascending order you can use this option. For descending order you can use this option. More advanced features can be obtained by this option. So this list need to be ascending order. So I'm going to use this option, sort to A to Z. So it asks me Microsoft Office Excel found data next to your selection. That means other cell values. Since you have not selected this data, it will not be sorted. So I doesn't need them to be sorted. I need only this list. Therefore I'm going to use this option, continue with the current selection, and click the sort button. So now it's sorted in alphabetical order. Okay, now I need these heading cells in the table to be center aligned. For that, click the Home tab and select the cell alignment into center option. Now I need to fill the number column. That means to type 1 to 5. Rather than manually typing the numbers 1 to 5, type the number 1 in cell B7 and use this small dot in the bottom right corner. When you move your mouse cursor into the bottom right corner, you can see the cursor is changed into a tiny cross. Normally the cross is so much fatter, but when you move your mouse cursor into that small dot in the bottom right corner, it changed into a tiny cross. So what you need to do is click and drag the cursor into the cell B11. And now you can see there is appearing another option called autofill options. So click the small arrow in here and select this option, fill series. You can see it automatically changed into 1 to 5 numbers. Okay, now we need some marks for the subjects. Rather than manually type them, we can generate some random numbers automatically. In Excel, it has a function called rand to generate these kinds of random numbers. If you know the name of the function, you doesn't need to go the data tab and look for the function. You can directly type the function over the cell. Functions are start with the equal symbol. When you are typing equal symbol on a cell, that means you are going to type a function, not a normal text or a number. So here I am going to type the name of the function with the equal sign. There you can see Excel suggests several functions that start with the letters that you have typed. So what I need is a random number between 1 and 100. In the normal rand function, it returns a random number greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1. So that's not the way I need a random number. I need a random number like this. Returns a random number between the numbers you specify. So I specify number 1 and number 100. And I'm going to close the brackets and press the enter. So it generates the number 87. Now we need these kinds of random values over 5 rows and 3 columns. Therefore, drag the small dot in the bottom right corner over to 5 rows and 3 columns. Now remember, even though it appears as values in the cell range, these cells contain actually a formula. You can see that in the formula bar. So all of these cells contain a formula rather than a cell value. To convert these cell range into a cell values, you need to copy the cells using this option and select the cell that you need to paste into and use the paste option. So here it has a menu item called paste values. You can use this option to paste only the values, not the formula. So here you can see when I select the cell, it contains a cell value, not the formula. So in this way you can add some randomly generated marks. So now I'm going to find the average of each student. So for that, in Excel it has a function called average. So I'm going to type the function with the equal symbol. It describes as returns the average arithmetic mean of its arguments, which can be numbers or names, arrays or references that contain numbers. So I'm going to double click over the function. So now I'm going to select a cell range which contains the values. So I need to select the cell range D7 to F7. And now I'm going to close the brackets and press enter. So the average of Kamal is 18. So likewise I'm going to do the same. So just I need to simply drag the little dot at the right bottom corner to the cell G11. So these are the average of each student. So likewise I'm going to find the average of each subject. So for that type the function with the equal symbol, average, and select the cell range and close the bracket, and I'm going to drag it to the cell F12. Generally, average marks contain 2 decimal points. So to do that, select the cell range and use these options: increase decimal points and decrease decimal points. So I'm going to click increase decimal points to convert into 2 decimal points, and I'm doing the same for these average marks too. So now what I'm going to show you is conditional formatting. So to demonstrate that, select the marks in the math subject and click the conditional formatting under the styles group. So this time I'm going to show you what is meant by data bars, and this time I'm going to use orange data bar. View a colored data bar in the cell. The length of the data bar represents the value in the cell. A longer bar represents a higher value. So you can see 79, 81 and 88 represent with high data bars, but the low values 34 and 37 has a shorter data bars. And now I'm going to select the marks in English subject, and this time I'm going to use greater than option. So here you can mention what value you should use to compare. So here I'm going to use the number 50 to the comparison, and I'm going to use this kind of formatting, green fill with dark green text. So here you can see all the values above the number 50 have this formatting you have mentioned. I'm going to click OK button, and now I'm going to select the marks in science and use conditional formatting and use above average option. So here it will highlighted the values which have above average values. So I'm going to click OK button. So you can see the average value of the science subject is 43.4. So all the values above 43.4 have the formatting that we had mentioned. And now I'm going to select the average marks of each student and use the conditional formatting and have the color scales in yellow-red scheme. So each value represents a color, and you can see the lowest one have the darker color and the highest one have the lighter color. In this notepad we have 5 names separated by comma. Typically from databases, when we exporting data, we export them as text files like this, separated by a comma or semicolon. So I need this data to be inserted into our Excel sheet. So to do that, simply select the text and copy them and paste it into the Excel sheet. It pasted as a one text in a one cell. We need those names to be appeared in separate cells. So to do that, you can see there is an option appearing as paste options. So click the arrow key and use this option, use text import wizard to open up the text import wizard. So with this wizard you can delimiter the text. So I'm going to use this option, characters such as commas or tabs separated each field. If you mention that you are separating from the comma, you can simply make them appear in each cell. So I'm going to select the next button, and here I'm mentioning my delimiter as a comma. So you can see the preview, Harry, Sharda and Tom and Anushka appearing in separate cells. So I'm going to select the next button, and there is nothing to change in here. So I'm going to finish the wizard. So now you can see each name is appearing in each cell, but these names are appearing in horizontally, but we need them in a vertical column. So to do that, you need to copy the names, and this time you need to paste it with transpose option. So when I click this option, you can see it transposed vertically. So we need to move these names into our name column. So to do that, you need 5 rows to be inserted into our table. So to do that, select 5 rows and right click and say insert. So now you can have 5 more rows. So I'm going to cut them and paste into the name column. Okay, as now we have a complete table, we can now do filtering to it. So for that, select the table range and click the data tab and use the filter option under the sort and filter group. There you can see each of the heading, it contains an arrow key. By clicking the arrow key, you can perform any filtering function. For example, the names in the name column are not in the alphabetical order now. So to make it alphabetical order, click the arrow key and use sort A to Z option. And now you can see it make into alphabetical order, and accordingly other columns are changed too. So for relevant to the and records, you can see other columns are changed too. So if I use the average column, I'm going to use sort largest to smallest function. So now you can see the color scale is appearing nicely in here. And also I'm doing the same to the math field, sort smallest to the largest, and the bars are appearing nicely. So if I use English field filtering into sort largest to the smallest, you can see all the large values in green color are appearing in the top. The last thing we are going to show you is inserting charts. So for that, select the table range starting from the name column, math column, English column, science column and the average column, and click the insert tab and use the column option under the charts group, and I'm using 2D column, clustered column chart. So here you can see how each student has obtained marks for each subject with the average mark. And also I'm going to add a pie chart for the average mark in each subject. So for that I'm going to select cell range and click the insert tab and use pie option and use the 2D pie chart. So there you can see how does the mark has distributed over subjects. So that's all what we have to do under this episode. Let's summarize what we covered. First we learn about the working area, the components in the working area such like the name box, and then we learn about the number formatting, how to change decimal places, and also we learn about the date formatting as well. And then we learn about conditional formatting, changing the formatting according to a condition, especially the colors. And then we learn about different pasting techniques such like pasting from the notepad and then pasting as transpose likewise. In the sorting we learn about ascending and descending sorting, and we applied that concept into a cell range using filters. And also we learn about inserting charts, and then we learn about 3 functions: average function, random function and today function. With this we are going to finish the 4th section of this application software, and under this section we discussed word processing, multimedia presentations and spreadsheets. In the next section, the 5th section, we are going to start database packages. So thank you for watching. See you in the next episode. This video brought to you by edupediaworld.com. Watch more from our website.